Hello again, Algebra 2 students. This will be the last or the wrap up of the video to practice for your test. Some of you tomorrow, that's block 5, and some of you will be on Tuesday. So again, I'm going to call on the Lord to help us. I think I was able to go through number 5 with you this one, so I trust this one will be fine. But number 6, I saw the time running out and I tried to do it too quickly and I didn't do a good job of it, so I want to try again. All right, now number 6 says find the zeros. What are the zeros, you might say? The zeros are the x values for which y is 0. Again, these are the x values for which y is 0. So if we were to do, let's say, let's do this one. I think I did this one with you before, and now I'm going to do a couple of these, 2 of these, and then you do the remaining one. So make sure you listen carefully so you can do the remaining one yourself. Let's see. All right, let's do this one. We want to find the x values for which y is 0. So here, I'm going to put y equals 0. Remember, f of x is y. So wherever I see f of x, I'm going to put 0. Okay? And now it's equal to. And here's where you look at this quadrilateral, not quadrilateral, but quadratic expression, and you want to factor it. You might say, well, what does that mean? Well, you want to factor it into 2 binomials. And you've done this before. So I want to encourage you to look back at your notes if you have questions or uncertainties after this and see what you did. So, well, how do you do this again? Here's what you do. You look for 2 numbers which when you multiply them together you get negative 28, such that when you add them you get negative 3. Again, 2 numbers multiplied together to give you negative 28. Now, think about it. If you're multiplying 2 numbers together, negative 1 must be positive and the other must be negative, right? And then when you put them together by addition, you get negative 3. So you might be saying, oh, 7 and 4. Yes, but one has to be positive. One has to be negative. Okay? So here you're thinking, you say, okay, 7 going to be 1, 4 the other. But which should be positive and which should be negative? Here's a clue. The bigger one will dominate the final sign. So since the final sign here is a negative 3, you want the bigger one to be negative. So you want the 7 to be negative. So these will be the factors then. It's going to be x minus 7. That will be 1. And since the 4 is positive, then you write x plus, this right here should be plus 4. Okay, so those are the 2 factors. And you can see just quickly, if you do negative 7 times positive 4, you're going to get a negative 28. And you'll get your negative 3 in the middle. So those are the factors. Now, if you're looking for the x values, and you can maybe do it, maybe you can see it from a mile away, that if you multiply 2 things together, one is in this parentheses and one is in the other, so then either this one has to be 0 or this one has to be 0, because 0 times anything will be 0, or anything times 0 will be 0. There's another thing you could do. Once you factored it, you could say, what x value would make x minus 7 0? You probably can see that if x is 7, then this whole parentheses becomes 0, because 7 take away 7 is 0. So the first answer for this one would be x equals 7. Okay, that will be the first answer. How about this one? What x value would make this 0? Think about it. X would have to be what? And I trust I hear some of you saying -4. Yes, X would have to be equal to -4. These would be the two answers. I'm just going to circle them. These are the X values that would make Y equals 0. And they're called the zeros. Okay? Well, how about this one? Let's do this one. And then don't forget, you're going to go and do this one by yourself for practice. So here again, we're finding the zeros. So we're looking for the X values that would make Y 0. So here it comes. F of X, which is Y. I'm making it 0. And I'm looking for the factors of x squared plus 9x plus 20. This is kind of like a little jigsaw. It's like a puzzle. We're looking for two numbers which when you multiply them together you get positive 20, and when you add them you get positive 9. I'm sure you can come up with those. What do you think? 10 times 2? No. 10 times 2 is good for 20, but 10 plus 2 is not 9. Or 10 minus 2 is not 9. So you have to try again. I can hear somebody say 5 and 4, 5 and 4. You'll be right. So everything is positive here. So it's X plus 4 would be one factor, and the other would be X plus 5. Okay? So that's what it would look like. You should have the parentheses being closed here. Alright? So then you look at this and you say, well, we're multiplying one parenthesis by another parenthesis to get 0. Either this one has to be 0 or this has to be 0. What X value would make this 0? And yes, you said it. X equals -4 would make that 0. How about this parenthesis here? Which X value would make X plus 5 equal to 0? You said it as well. X equals -5. So those would be the two what are called zeros or roots of this quadratic equation. Those will be the answers. Okay? Again, you do that if you want. You can pause the video and do this one, and then you'll go to, and then you can afterwards go to the next page. All right, but I'm going to go there now, show you a few other things. All right, I think we covered these quite well. So I'm going to go to the other page where we see we're going to add or subtract the complex numbers. Write the answer in the standard form, a plus bi form. So here we go. Adding complex numbers. This is 1. 7 minus 6i is a complex number. And -5 minus 2i is a complex number also. So how do we do this? Well, we add the real parts together. The real part of this one is 7. The real part of this one is -5. So we put those together. And we could do it like this. I'm going to put in parentheses the 7. And there's a -5. I'll put those together. And I like to just put a plus and then put the imaginary parts together. Imaginary part from the first parentheses is -6i. And the imaginary part from the second parentheses is a -2i. All we have to do now is put these together. 7 minus 5 is 2. And negative 6i minus 2i is what? Negative 8i, and that is in standard form, which is a plus bi form. Okay, and you're going to do this by yourself, and I want to do this one with you. Subtraction. Let's see. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this one. Again, although we're subtracting, we're going to put the real parts together like we just did. So here I go. Getting my cursor over here for some reason. But anyway, I'm going to do it mentally. It's going to be 3 with a 10. No, it's not going to be the way I want it to be. I'm going to have the 3 and the negative 10 together. First of all, I wanted to spirit me as I get this the way I want it to be. Where is it? Person I. Oops, still not coming. Let's try that. Alright, so we're going to put, from number 14, we're going to put the 3 and the negative 10 together. Bear in mind, although we have 3 here from this complex number, from this one is a negative 10 here, but understood outside is a negative 1. So a negative 1 times a negative 10 is going to give us a positive 10. And that's where you have to be careful. Okay? I'm going to put a plus. For the imaginary part, now the imaginary part here is 7i. So we have 7i. And over here, again, carefully, we have a negative 1 before the parentheses. So a negative 1 times positive 4i is going to give us what? Negative 4i. So that's the way we do it. 10 plus 3 is going to give us 13. And then 7i minus 4i will give us a 3i. That would be the answer. Now you do that one yourself, and you do that one yourself. Okay. Let's take one of these. And you've got notes on all of this, so if I don't go over all of these, I'd like you to go back to your notes and make sure you look back over it and practice it. I think I'll have time maybe just for one more. So multiply the complex number. You're going to take the 3 from here. Let me go to another pen. You're going to take the 3 from here and multiply it by the 4. So 3 times 4 will give you 12. And then the same 3 from the first complex number, you multiply it by the 6i. So 3 times 6i will give you 18i. We're done with the 3. Now we're going to do the negative 5i. Negative 5i times 4 will give you 5 times 4 is 20. So that would be a negative 20i. And finally, negative 5i times a positive 6i will give you 5 times 6 is 30. That will give you a 30i. And it's really I from here times I. It's going to be I squared. Okay? So like terms together. 18i with 20i. One is negative, one is positive. It's going to be a negative 2i. Up front we have a 12. And here 30 times I squared. I squared is negative 1. So positive 30 times negative 1 is a negative 30. And now we take the 12 with the 30 because they're real, and that gives us a negative 18. Can't write properly with this. Negative 18 minus 2i. That would be your answer for this one. Okay? So now you take this and you work the others by yourself. Look at your